Rockeyez would like to welcome Paul Bonrud. Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, not much. How's it going, Brian?
Very good, very good. Nice day today. Enjoying myself. You have a new release coming out. Can you tell me anything about that or the comparison to your first album in 2004?
Sure thing. Well, this new album is called Save Tomorrow. It's the new Bonrud CD. I co-produced it with Keith Olson, who also mixed it. And Keith mixed my first Bonrud CD, which was a self-titled release that Frontiers and Marquee Avalon put out in 2004. But that first self-titled release is something that I'd really just produced myself. They were kind of homespun demos that Keith mixed for me. But this one, Keith and I really worked from the ground up and co-produced it together. And I think it's a major step forward in production, especially.
Right. But your first CD was picked up from Frontiers Records, right?
Oh yeah, the self-titled Bonrud CD was released in August and September of 2004 on Marquee Avalon and Frontiers Records in Europe and Japan, and one song on the CD Date with Destiny was actually in the top 20 for 5 weeks in one city in Japan. That was a song called Date with Destiny. This new CD, Save Tomorrow, is actually being released in Europe later here in September by Escape Music and in Japan by Rubicon Music. And I'll have a U.S. indie release too that I'll sell through my website and at gigs.
Right, right. You also have a new singer?
I sure do. Rick Forsgren. He sang for 10 years in a progressive rock or metal band called Conditioned Response. And they had put out 2 CDs and an EP, and he's a fantastic singer, huge voice, huge range, great guy, and he definitely gives this CD, I think, a little bit more edge than the first one. We balance each other out really well because I'm definitely more on the melodic side, and I could write the typical Journey melodic rock songs forever, but Rick really likes to rock a little bit more, which pushes me a bit and gives it that yin-yang thing, and I really enjoy being pushed too. He's such a great singer. I really felt like I had to play my butt off on this CD just to keep up. So that's the great thing about playing with great people. They push you to get better, which is part of the reason why you also work with a great producer like Keith Olson, who's produced everybody from Foreigner to Ozzy and Whitesnake.
Cool. I definitely listened to some of the tracks that you sent over to me and stuff like that. He has a little bit of a Dio-ish sound, many other players.
Yeah.
Can you have 12 tracks on the CD? Why did you decide to go with 12?
Well, we actually, of course, had worked up more songs than that. There are 13 on the release in Japan, but 12 is just a really good number. I think I've seen over the past few years lots of people complain when people put too many songs on a CD, saying, well, then it's a little too long to listen to. But if you don't put enough songs on there, then you aren't really giving people a fair value. So 12 songs is just the right number. There was a really beautiful killer ballad that I ended up having to leave off the CD, and the reason I did it was because the whole CD rocks along pretty well. Having something that was a little slower, and it was kind of very much like Journey's Lights, if you will.
Right.
Kind of a bluesy ballad like that. I just felt that, it affected the running order just a little bit, and by omitting that one song, it just kept cranking, and I kind of liked that. So, hopefully people will find that it's a good value and really enjoy all the songs.
Cool. How do you decide, the tracking order for all the songs? Like, why'd you put We Collide, first, and how's that work?
Oh, man, that is really, really hard. And I kept burning myself CDs with different running orders, and I'd drive around in the car and listen to it. And, with We Collide being first, that one I put first just because of how strong the intro is. You want a really upbeat rockin' song for the first one. And originally I wanted the title track, Save Tomorrow, to be first. But We Collide just kicked off so strongly that I just felt that was a good opening track. I also had a lot of advice that I took from Andrew McNeese on the running order, which was very helpful because Andrew had been hearing the mixes as I was doing it. He's been a friend for a long time, and so having his input was very useful. Keith Olson, obviously, hugely helpful in figuring out the running order, and then a lot of it was just my own taste. But you kind of have to make it ebb and flow a little bit, right? You wouldn't want a whole bunch of slow songs together, and not that there are really too many slow songs at all on the CD because they all pretty much rock. But you have to look at the tempos, key signatures, just the the type of song it is. It's a lot of work, but it's kind of fun.
Cool. I'm glad Andrew helped you. He's a big supporter of our site, and actually, he's the man of gold. He helps everybody, and I appreciate my friendship with him.
I do as well. Yeah, I think Andrew is a big reason this scene is still alive. It's a small scene, but we owe it all to Andrew, really.
Cool guy. Can you tell me any other songs that really pop out in your head? I know you're going to probably say they're all my babies, but there has to be something on there besides the title track that really sparks you.
Yeah, I do like all the songs, but if I had to pick three favorites, I would say We Collide, Save Tomorrow, and End of Days. End of Days is a song that I actually wrote for my wife, and it's not about the end of the world. It's more, I will love you till the end of my days. It's that kind of song, and so I like the message in that, and I like how that song turned out. And Save Tomorrow is obviously really upbeat, and I'd say it's probably the most generally representative song of my style. So that's kind of like the average. Whereas like We Collide, that's way on the heavier side, where I'm really pushing the envelope of what I do from a heavy guitar, heavy shred thing. But 'cause I could write those pop rock, Journey, Bryan Adams songs for forever. I can just kind of keep cranking them out. But it's nice to have some variety.
Cool. When's this release coming out?
December 19th in Japan for Rubicon Music, and I believe it's the 21st in Europe on Escape Music. And I should have CDs for sale through my own website, www.bonrud.com, for the U.S., Canada, and South America in a couple weeks. And the version that I'll sell for the U.S. Has the same 12 songs that are on the release for Europe, but I'll probably be giving away one bonus track that isn't on any of those CDs, just as an MP3 download for anybody who buys through my site.
Cool. Now, your first CD got, rave reviews. I've been reading reviews all morning, and it was really impressive. Is there any comparison from that 2004 release to now?
Comparison just within the musical style?
Yeah.
Well, since I wrote, pretty much 75% of all the material on both CDs, they're all very, similar in style. It's my general style. I guess with this new CD, there's a little bit more of an edge with a few of the songs, but there's still a lot of the same melodicness. I think this one might be just slightly less 80s,
right?
Because I'm further removed now from the 80s, fortunately, and I still listen to a lot of that, the old 80s music. Obviously, Van Halen, huge, Journey, Boston, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard. I loved all that stuff, but these days, my favorite new band is Alter Bridge. Just love those guys.
Very cool.
But I listen to stuff like Daughtry and Shinedown, and so there are other modern influences that will kind of creep in a little bit. Not that I think anybody would listen to the CD and say, "Oh, this really sounds super modern," because it's so heavily flavored by the melodic rock of the 80s and early 90s. It's not even funny. But the more new music that comes out that you listen to and absorb, the more that stuff kind of creeps in a little bit.
Right. You had a special guest, Eric Regno, a good friend of our site. Can you tell me what he participated in the release?
Yeah, absolutely. Eric's a great guy. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, if you need anything, you need any keyboards, I'd love to help you out." And I took him up on it. He played keys on both We Collide and on End of Days. And I even kidded him. The first thing that you hear when you put on my new CD is Eric's keys, because his keys actually come in before my guitar even on that song. So he's the featured performer on that song. But
Wow.
he's a great guy and a fantastic keyboardist. I also had Richard Baker, an old friend of Keith Olsen's, play a lot of keys on many of the songs. And Richard had played for Santana for 6 years, played for Saga, and if you remember Gary Wright, you know, song Dreamweaver, he played for Gary Wright in the mid to late 70s as well.
Cool, cool. Tell me a little bit about Rick. I was listening to his vocals, amazing. You know, I really caught on to the vocals right away, and you know, made comparisons for myself about who he sounded like. But I really, the vocals are very clean, very powerful. What kind of guy is he?
He's a great guy, and he's a great friend. That's actually the best part of the whole deal. You know, the reason I got a new singer is I had to, since the last CD, I had to get a new job. I moved back from to Minnesota. I was in Seattle for that first CD. You know, got married, bought a house that I had to renovate, and my wife had 4 back surgeries, and of course, being, you know, 1,300 miles away, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to need to find a new singer once I got back into it. And so, you know, a lot of networking in town, and if you know who Lance King is,
Yes, I do.
He's a local guy, and he gave me a lot of advice on some singers. And so, you know, you just start networking and talk to the guys, and there are about 5 guys in town that I thought could have potentially done it, and it eventually kind of came down between Rick and another friend of mine, Sean Smith, who he and I were doing a Journey tribute thing together for a while just for fun. But Rick definitely won me over, and you know, we just recorded 3 songs as demos at first to see how we sounded together, and how, you know, we got along as friends and working in the studio, and we got along great. Just lots of commonality between us. You know, both a couple of Midwest Norwegian guys, both married, you know, houses and day jobs, like the same kind of music. We both had old Corvettes. You know, there was so much commonality. It was so easy, and that's the key. We just had great chemistry and immediately became great friends. So, you know, every weekend, you know, Rick comes over and to the studio, and you know, we work for hours on end, and but you know, it's not just music that we do. You know, we get together with our wives and go out to dinner and stuff. We'll go hunting together, and you know, things like that. We're just really good friends, and that makes it an absolute joy to make music with somebody that you really like, that you really consider a friend. And I have to say that everyone who played on it and it was a part of this, even Keith Olsen, is a really good friend of mine, and again, that's what made it fun.
Cool, cool. Now, is Bonrud a studio project?
Well, it's been a studio project. Rick and I do want to get out and play gigs. The one challenge is my drummer, Paul Higgins, who's an old friend of mine. He and I have played many bands together, lives out in Seattle. So yeah, Rick and I are looking for a local bass player and drummer to play. Rick plays a little guitar too, so that'll help fill out the sound live. And of course, you know, I did almost all the bass on the record as well as all the guitars. So we need a local bass player and drummer, and of course we're being pretty picky about it too, because whoever we use for it, we want them to get along very, very easily. Want them to be laid back and just cool guys that, you know, you like to hang out with.
Cool, cool. Now, with the economy being so pitiful and stuff like that, do you think music is a good career for people to go into at this time?
No. Let me tell you, this CD cost me an awful lot to produce. This was not a cheapie. I mean, when you have people like Keith Olsen co-producing the CD with you, you have somebody like, you know, Richard Baker playing on it, who's played for Santana and Sega, and Steve Hall, who mastered it. You know, he's mastered stuff for Madonna, Richard Marx, Rod Stewart, Alice in Chains. You know, I hired my favorite comic book artist, Adriana Mello, who draws for Marvel Comics and DC Comics, to do a really great cover art. I mean, there was a lot of money put into this, and in truth, there's no way I will break even.
Right.
Not in this market, not with this genre of music. I did it for the love of it, because I'm a very creative person. I love music, love doing this. I was just trying to make the best CD I possibly could. I wanted to surpass what I had done on my first Bonrud CD, and I really think that I achieved all those goals. Now my hope is just that people enjoy the music. That a few people buy it and like it and spread the word. But no, it is so hard to make a living doing music now. It's not even funny, because people rip the stuff off for free off the internet, and the market's saturated, and with the economy being the way it is, we're all worried about making our mortgage payments and putting food on the table.
I understand that. So congratulations on Save Tomorrow. Hopefully people support you.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so.
You like it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, and we'll support it. So congratulations. Would you like to say anything in conclusion?
I'd just like to thank you again for taking the time to interview me, Brian, and thank everyone at Rockeyez website, and thank you to all those people that are fans and are supporting my musical endeavors. I don't take any of you for granted, and I appreciate every single one of you, so thank you.
Thanks a lot, man. Talk to you later.
Bye, Brian.
Bye-bye.